From Faith Forward Media, this is Healthcare Musings. I'm Dr. Hashem Hasabala. Welcome to Healthcare Musings, everybody. Happy to have you with me. Continuing on in our series on Healthcare Musings about AI and medicine, there is something that I read. There was two articles that I read on STAT. STAT is a medical publication to which I'm subscribed, and it's they talked about two aspects. And in fact, I'm going to have Terry Cameron, who is head of the Sound Physicians Advisory Services that helps with revenue cycle management and, inpatient, outpatient, and denials and appeals. Really, it's a great resource to talk about this, almost like the battle of the bots between insurance companies and clinicians and doctors and medical practices. So it's almost going to be like, the battle of the robots. So I'm going to get more about from his perspective. There's two aspects, and I reached out to both of these reporters for STAT to try to get them on the podcast, and unfortunately, they're probably busy. They did not respond. I really wanted to get their perspective. So there was two things. One is, a lot of clinicians are using AI to enhance their billing, right? And then people are saying, oh, this is going to increase healthcare costs because your insurance bills are going to be higher. And if you have a higher insurance bill, then you're going to have a higher it's going to apply to your deductible and then your copay, and then you're going to end up, paying more. It's going to be higher healthcare costs. And I really took offense to that. I really did, because it's not like traditionally a lot of physicians underbill, right? They bill less than what they're entitled to bill, because they don't want to make a mistake and then be accused of fraud. If an AI tool allows me, based on my documentation, to bill at a higher level, why is that a problem? Like, that really gets on my nerves. Like, I'm only getting the reimbursement to which I'm entitled based on my documentation. And the other way around, if my documentation doesn't support the level of billing, then it should be appropriately downcoded. And so it goes both ways, right? It's not fair to get downcoded only. It's only one-sided. No, your documentation doesn't support this higher level bill. We're going to downcode and you owe us money. If my documentation does support the higher level of bill, why is there a problem? Why is it, you're going to increase healthcare costs? The providers, I hate to use that word, but the doctors and the practices, they're not the bulk of the healthcare costs in America. That's clear as day. I remember reading and hearing from healthcare experts and leaders in the field that the amount of money that goes to clinicians and providers and hospitals is like 4% of the healthcare dollar in America. Please don't tell me that we're the ones that are raising healthcare costs. Far from it. So if my documentation supports a higher level bill, then I have every right to get that level of reimbursement. It's the work that I'm doing, and it's justified. So that I took issue with that. So then there's this other article that says, and I'll quote the title here. It says, insurers say they'll deploy more AI to combat quote aggressive coding by hospitals. Payers blame providers' use of automated AI tools for some of their shrinking profits. Okay, this was in Stat Plus. It's a health tech by Katie Palmer, and the article is dated October 31st, 2025. And I'm not going to read the entire article. I'll link both of these articles in the show notes. This is what triggered me about this article right now. So now hospitals and doctors and practices are using AI to get more money, which we're entitled. I don't think we're creating fraud. We're not lying. If my documentation, like I said, if my documentation supports the higher level bill, I should get reimbursed at that higher level. Now the insurance companies are using AI to combat this because their profits are going down, and it's like this irreconcilable conflict between payers and uh, providers. I hate that word, but there's, just as a catch-all for hospitals, clinics, doctors, etc. And so this is what triggered me about this. This article, and what really kind of led to this to this episode today. Let me find it here. It says, okay, so let me see. There is Elevance. I think that's a payer. Elevance. The CEO is Gail Boudreau. Okay, on an earnings call. Here's what Boudreau said. Quote, Boudreau referred to these tools more explicitly in Elevance's July earnings call. We are using our data and using AI, quite frankly, to get ahead of the cost curve, she said. Some, quote, pockets of increased coding she attributed to hospitals, quote, using some AI-enabled coding tools that can increase documentation, acuity, and in turn, unit costs, unquote. Elevance's AI, she said, would help identify those patterns of billing abnormalities. And so, okay, fine. All right. So then, I'm trying to find what it really triggered me. It's said here. Oh, here we are. It was Centene, another payer. So Centene CEO Sarah London, she said at this Deutsche Bank summit, quote, if you think about hospital revenue cycle management systems, there have been some of these pockets where folks coming into the emergency department with a fever all of a sudden have sepsis, unquote. Okay, that really got on my nerves. And let me tell you why. That quote makes it seem like, oh, we're just calling something sepsis when it's not sepsis, right? And I've had other podcast episodes about sepsis and the definition of sepsis and everything like that. And knowing the definition, depending on the pair, that really got on my nerves. It's like, oh, someone comes in with a flu and a fever and I'm documenting them to be septic. No, we are forced to use an older definition by CMS, by the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services. It's not our fault. They are still using what's called Sepsis 2, where if you have a known or suspected infection and 2 or more SIRS criteria, SIRS, S-I-R-S, the Systemic Inflammatory Response Syndrome, if you have 2 or more signs, and that's fever, tachycardia, tachypnea, low blood pressure, high lactate, a whole host of signs and symptoms that are part of the SIRS, Systemic Inflammatory Response Syndrome. If you have 2 or more of these and a known or suspected infection, you have to call it sepsis by CMS. And if you don't, you're penalized by CMS now financially, because if they go back, and it's all retrospective, right? It's not prospective, it's retrospective. So somebody comes in with a pneumonia, they're febrile, they're tachycardic, and I don't document sepsis. Someone else will document sepsis, right? And then if we don't do all these things, we're going to fall out of compliance, and then we get penalized financially. So, they made it seem like, oh, we're just seeing a fever and calling it sepsis. No, they're making us call it sepsis because we are being held to an older definition of sepsis, and that just got on my nerves. And again, and so now they're using AI to try to combat this, and I see it all the time. I deal with tons of sepsis denials from insurance companies where they are disputing the whole notion that the patient had sepsis, and they're using now Sepsis 3, a more recent definition, which is not, it's now 9 years old. A more recent definition of sepsis, which is much stricter than the old CMS definition, and so that got on my nerves. And again, it's this. It seems like this is just inevitable. Like it's a zero sum game, right? It's I don't see it any other way. How can it's a zero sum game? It is the payers have the money, and the providers want the money. And so the providers are trying to get as much money as possible from the payers to which they're entitled. I don't think we should commit fraud. I don't think we should lie. I don't think we should inappropriately code. And the payers are doing everything they can to not pay. because then to maximize their profits. I don't know how this is reconcilable. I just in this kind of adversarial, and it's super adversarial. And then if they do pay, a lot of them come back later using AI to go back and say, hey, they actually didn't have sepsis. You owe us $5,000, or you owe us $10,000, and if you don't pay, we're just going to reduce your next bill by the $5,000 that you owe us. I don't know how you can reconcile this, and I'm going to try to get people on the show to see if they can help me reconcile this, or help me understand. Is it anything other than a zero-sum game? I don't know, but I just wanted to kind of rail against that part of that article. Oh, they come into the ER with a fever and then they all of a sudden have sepsis. That makes us seem like we're the bad guys, like we're just inappropriately coding. We're not. They're making us do it. They're making us use the old definitions. And so I wish that, and this is going to be another podcast, I wish they just pick a definition and run with it, and everybody is the same, so that we're not going back and forth and causing confusion among clinicians and doctors all over the country. Anyway, more to come here. Thanks so much, guys, for your time and attention. And until next time, we'll see you on Healthcare Musings. Thank you for listening. Sign up at healthcaremusings.com to get every episode delivered directly to your email. And please don't forget to leave a 5-star review. Thank you so much.